All right, welcome, folks, to another Mike and Mike. I would say, our other half is not here, but as usual,
He's with us in spirit, though.
he's with us in spirit. You can see him right here, and if you wave to him, he will.
He will wave back.
He will wave back to you. I don't know when, but sometime in the future. And as usual, no. I would say no guests to this forum. We have King Tox.
King Tox, baby.
Baby.
Yeah.
In this house. And as usual, Mike. So we're going to jump into some topics what we see kicking the headlines today. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we can jump into, we realize that Trump, I would say is a good amount of states. I don't want to put numbers on it, but it's a good amount of states. It's a lot that are suing Trump administration to block him with the tariff, because from his administration side and from the Republican, the Democrat, they're realizing that the tariff is not going to work, according to them. It's not going to work, and they are going to try to prevent him from moving, or his administration, to put these tariff in place and execute them. So about a couple states launched lawsuit against him. I don't know how far that's going to go, if he's just going to go through the window. I guess they said he doesn't have the power to exercise that type of a power.
Yeah.
I guess he said that's not the case. I have the power. So it's just political back and forth. Some say you don't have the power. Some say you have the power. But I'm like, it's very simple. You go and look into the Constitution books.
Yeah.
And you'll find if he has the power or not. You're going back and forth, and so on and so on. And more likely, if say he didn't have the power, he probably have find some loophole, just like his tax situation, and they're pissed off about it at the end of the day. No, as I said, the whole issue is that we are going to feel some pain. And one of the things where a lot of people don't understand the tariff, like, for instance, as usual, we always talk about China. Mm-hmm. When I order stuff from you as a Chinese, from China, right? Mm-hmm. China they get their money.
Yeah.
Whether they ship, whether they're going to pay for shipment or anything, they already have their money.
Yeah.
When this product reached the United States, this is when they charge the tariffs. That's going to hit the consumers, are going to hit the businesses who are importing these goods. Not the manufacturer who's shipping these products. They're already getting paid. The most they're paying is for shipment. But they're getting paid for their products, and they're again throwing in maybe some what do you call it, shipment for free or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. They may, all right, the Trump change, they probably pay for that to ship out the product to the customer. Yeah. So when it hits here now, this is when the big dog hit them. And a lot of people don't understand that that's how it works. They're thinking when you're buying from over there, they're going to hit China, or they're going to hit Russia, or they're going to hit whoever when they're buying from them. That's not how it works. They're getting their money. You pay them. They go about their business. You import it now. Then the big dogs in the U.S. are going to hit you, whatever company, whether it's Jaguar, whether it's Benz, whether it's Ford, or whatever, you're going to get that big tariff hit, whether it's 24%.
That's the biggest misconception. It doesn't work that way. Every single country tariffs. Mm-hmm. Their economies do better, right? People are not thinking long term. It's going to be more expensive at the beginning for the American people until we adjust. As time goes on and these tariffs continue, that's more revenue coming into the country. When more revenue is coming into the country, us as a people are going to pay less in taxes, because those tariff revenues that we're getting will be alleviating all that responsibility from us. Now, what they're doing on the news, they're fear-mongering. That's why I don't listen to them. I did my research on tariffs. I'm like, wait a minute, this has always been a regular thing.
Right.
And what it is that everybody tariffs the United States. United States wasn't tariffing anybody, or if they were, it was a very minuscule tariff. And now that
it was very small, right?
Yeah, now that we want to level the playing field, now it's a problem. You guys been picking our pockets clean for years. This is a good 40, 50 years. I mean, China exposed it all. I'm like, even though, they're not innocent neither, because they capitalized this whole fucking time. Pardon my French. Yeah. They capitalized this whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
off of what's going on. So for them to do that right now, where they're exposing everything as far as the fake Louis and the real Louis actually coming from out the same factory, they're doing that just to watch us implode. Exactly what's happening. That's exactly what they want. And then on top of that, the media, which is basically run by a bunch of leftist, globalist, Zionist people, they're pulling, they're pushing a certain narrative where they're fear mongering. I'm like, yeah, like you're saying, yeah, they're absolutely right. Yeah, the price will go up, but it's only temporary. They conveniently leave that part out. People have to learn there's always gonna be bad before things get good.
Right.
But things can't get good if you keep saying, oh, it's gonna get bad, and then they keep doing things to actually stop. Like, basically, this isn't progress. This is counterproductive, where these 34 states are suing the administration because they don't agree with the tariffs. Why? Because now you're not going to get your little kickback money? I mean, that's basically, remember, it always comes down to the money. There's somebody out of every single representative in these states. You said how many states it was again?
What, 4?
It was 4 states.
For what?
No, you said there's certain states that are suing the Trump administration.
Yeah, it's a few of them. I don't know. I don't want to throw any numbers on it until I do some research.
Every state, there's a representative in that state that's getting some sort of kickback.
Most likely.
Because those tariffs, were not in play. And now that they're not, and now that they are in play, their kickback is a lot smaller. That's really why they're complaining. And then they're sitting here and they're trying to project it, this is bad for the American people. No, it's not.
They always do that. They always do the American, this is bad for the American people.
They're playing a game. They don't.
The Democrat does that all the time.
Politicians in general too. Look, Republicans do it too. Like I said, like I've told you, I'm a Democrat for MAGA. I'm not. I've never been I don't have a Republican view. I'm not a conservative. The Democrats that are running around now, those are not Democrats as far as I'm concerned. They're weirdos. I don't agree with them. I completely think they just lost their mind. They went really, really far left. I'm a real, hardcore Democrat. So both sides, like I said, it's 2 feathers on the same bird. So both sides, they're both dishonest. There's both, there's both sides that they got dirty people on each side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as them, like the narrative that they push in the media, the fear mongering, it's not cool, because everybody, these people listen to the news like it's the truth, like it's gospel, and it's not.
Yeah, I understand sometimes, the media, and this is one of the things where people are always saying that do not focus too much on the media, even though the media can bring some relevance and some updates to what's going on in society. But you have to be careful of what you digest when it comes to the media. Because at the end of the day, it's control of what they want to send out, and they use that as a manipulation to control people's mindset, to have them think a certain way, behave a certain way, and stuff like that. Yep. So, the thing is, for day one, and guys, where I stand as usual. For day one, I don't like for instance, I was watching a clip with Elon, and he was making a statement. I think he was in some, it seemed like it was some Congress thing, because he was like a lot of big heads I can see based on the camera views. Yeah. Like he was sitting in front of or beside or whatever the case may be, and he was saying, like, listen, he was going down the numbers, and he was saying, as of now, we save $135 billion by cutting all these wastes. Yeah. And he started bringing up some of the ideas, and people was like, what? Like, they were shocked. Like, really, these were waste? Meaning not really were waste. This is what was going on. So some of them wasn't even aware of what's happening. Now, one of the things I can, if it is true, because as I shared with you earlier on off record, I don't want to publicize it because I was looking for it and I was hunting. However, if it is true and it really come out, I applaud him for it, because one of the things, Enrico, he's from CNBC.
Okay.
I think he's at the Channel 7.
All right.
So he had he's a heavy set dude. He's a meteorologist on Channel 7. Okay. Black guy.
Al Roker?
Al Roker.
Al Roker,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Al Roker. Thanks for that. So Al Roker, he had where he did a liposuction, right, to get rid of his fat.
He slimmed down.
Yeah, and he slimmed down, and somewhere down the line, it wasn't working out well. And then he went to the doctor. First, he got an heart attack.
Yeah.
He went to the doctor. They started pumping these medicine to him and like, oh, you need to take these. And he keep on taking it, but he realized that it's not working.
Yeah.
And for his story, I know it is true because I was watching it and even NBC was promoting it. And I said, Lord have mercy, they're going to get killed now. Because these pharmaceuticals, they don't play, boy. You mess with their funds. So I'm sitting there, I was like, oh, Al, don't go there, don't go there. But I guess he has a big network behind him. Anyway, so they had this interview with him, and he's like, oh, I was doing this. The doctor keep on pushing, subscribing these medicine to me. Matter of fact, they keep on increasing it. Then he has a second heart attack. Wind up in the hospital.
That medicine they were pumping inside of him.
Yeah, wind up again in the hospital. Now they're trying to increase his dosage. I'm like, the guy just have a heart attack, and you still want to give him more pills?
Yeah, because that's how they stay in business, by keeping people sick.
Right. So they don't want to fix you. They want to just keep you on a level where they keep on taking your money.
Yup. Or whatever money.
And you live to a certain extent, and then you just kaput.
Exactly.
So he was publicizing that, and it's a simple remedy. They mix up garlic and something, and his hypertension, his blood pressure, skyrocket down like to the T. Now he's living his great life. He have nothing to worry about. He stopped taking those pills, and this guy is living like a perfect life, like he used to be in his 30s. I think he's up in there in his 60s or 70s. One of them.
Yeah, he got to be like in his 60s. Al Roker's been around since I was a little kid.
Yeah. So he living his life now, and he promoting these things. And I think the doctor I know of that helped him out. She's European. I don't know if she lived in the States. Most likely because I think, well, not necessarily because he could have fly out to her.
Yeah.
So it seems like though sometimes she traveled to the States, or sometimes, people go to her just like Dr. Sabi and stuff like that. But the thing is, he started exposing her and showing people that they don't need all this medicine to keep, because they said, number one, blood pressure don't have nothing to do with age, it don't have nothing to do with DNA, and it don't have nothing to do with you exercising.
No.
Period. So, and the pharmaceutical push this agenda on you. So you go on and do these things, and then they push these pills on you.
Yeah, and then you got to take blood pressure pills.
And
that makes it even worse.
And all of that.
Yeah.
In conjunction with that, there's the story now, which I'm not sure if it is true. I saw it in my YouTube feed, but I didn't want to even mention it because I want to make sure that it's real. And I was doing some research, and I couldn't really find it. Maybe some AI. But let me say this. If it is true, even though it may be hard to find, and it is true what Elon did, where he did the same thing, and I think it was the same doctor he was involved with, and his space team was taking the same remedy. And
really?
When they go to space and they come back, they had a process they have to go through. That's the medicine they was taking. And Elon now started promoting it. Actually, it was an accidental exposure he did, according to the video that I saw.
Yeah.
And according to that, it get out, and the pharmaceuticals saw it, and they were soon, I think it's $1 billion lawsuit. Now, I saw it through my feed. Again, I was doing some hunting and some searching, and I couldn't find it again. And also was also involved is Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. He was in the same predicament, and he was just sharing with people, just like El Roca. He was just sharing with people, and they're suing him. The pharmaceutical industry is suing him. So, I mean, it's crazy, and this guy they speaking the truth.
Yeah.
So, kudos to Elon if that's the case, and stuff like that, because these guys, man, they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous, and the sad part is that I don't know.
I'll tell you something. Big pharma and big medical, those are the biggest. Those are like some of the biggest gangsters in the world.
No doubt.
Well, I should say biggest drug dealers in the world.
No doubt.
Because the kind of stuff that they push on us that's really not necessary. That actually makes your condition worse if you don't take the medicine.
There's no medicine they produce out there to get you well.
Exactly. No, they don't.
They get you. They push the medicine for it to camouflage the original symptoms.
Exactly.
And mask it, just like the pain tablet. when you take a pain tab, when you take
Well,
Tylenol or
Tylenol.
whatever the case may be, what it does, it just tells the nerves that the pain is no longer there.
Yeah, it thins your blood out. That's all it does.
And
that's why you can only take so much.
Exactly. And then, your body going around, hey, my headache is gone, and it's not.
Just thin your blood out.
Exactly.
That's it for the time being, and then hopefully it doesn't.
And this is what I think the pharmaceutical, they make these, how many disease they have cure for? Like, for instance, HIV.
Yeah.
Long they found cures for HIV. Dr. Sebi was trying to push that. They even lock him up. And he proved in court, in front of them, on real time, that he could have cured AIDS.
Yeah, and they had him killed.
And they had to let him go, and they wind up getting kill him anyway.
Perfect example, Pfizer. Pfizer has been around for 120-something years. 120-something years they've been around. They haven't cured anything. 127 years in business. This is Pfizer.
Mm-hmm.
0 cures.
Because they're not in the business of curing.
Because they're not in the business of curing people. They're in the business of making people sick.
Making sick and
then
collect that insurance.
raping your insurance company.
Yeah, and collecting that insurance. And
then the insurance companies are in on it too. Because obviously they're getting
of course, they get, these doctors, they get
whatever they
kickback.
pay them back, then, the insurance company or whoever could, kick back something, or the company that's doing for the insurance then kicks back, half of it to the insurance company. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's a scheme, man.
It's crazy. Like, even when I go to my doctor, not my I have a cardiologist where I do annual checkup in every aspect. From my annual, then I go to do my cardio checkup. I go and do all type of a checkup just on an annual basis. I go through these rigorous testings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one time he like, I saw a little glitch. I'm gonna put you on this medicine. So I'm like, okay, no problem. In my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna take that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So he sent it to my pharmacy. I go and collect it. But I just put it aside. So the next time I go there now, he's like, it's doing good. Everything is good. Okay. So out of the blue, you seem you're doing well and stuff like that. Also, I'm gonna upgrade your dosage. If I am doing good at where I'm at right now, why do you want to update my dosage?
Exactly. And you didn't take any of the medicine at all.
And I didn't take any of my medicine.
But now he wants to up your dosage. You see what I mean? It's nonsense. Nonsense.
I sit there and laugh, and I was like, these guys, man, are hilarious. But I don't know. But so, based on the situation, what's going on? What do you? Let me ask you your direct opinion.
All right.
How do you see right now? How do you look in the U.S., the leadership of this country, which is your Trump?
Yes.
How do you suggest him making these changes? I agree, and I think this was the last show. I agree. There's some bulldog approach sometime after. I mean, with my kids, there's sometimes I have to approach them some bulldog behavior. So I understand the concept where sometimes these bulldog behavior has to implement at times to get certain things done.
Yeah.
So with that said, how much of a bulldog force, or what do you see from your intellect? What do you see how Trump can get his way done on a tactful and on a principled way?
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel he needs more bulldog. But see, that's because of the kind of person that I am. Because what it is, we're in such... See, a lot of people are in denial of the real state that our country is in. Mm-hmm. We are not in a good state, okay? We are basically a third world country with a designer belt on. That's what we are. And since we just found out designer and fake is all the same nonsense anyway, so what does that tell you?
Which one?
And we just all found out that designer and fake is the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So what does that tell you if we're a third world country with a designer belt? Things right now at this point in time in our country's, in our country's history right now, these extreme bulldog ways are very much necessary. I feel he doesn't need to be tactful. What I feel he needs to do is, like I said, he needs to stop coddling AIPAC. Okay? AIPAC, those are the lobbyists for the nation state of Israel. They're not a country, they are a nation state. Okay, I'm still questioning why they're not registered with FARA, which is the Foreign Agent Registration Agency Association.
Because they have something up their sleeves.
Because they are a foreign agent. and they should be registered with them, and they're not. I'm more so worried about that. As far as what he's doing, I'm all for. Everything else, I am very happy. That's exactly what I would have voted for if they would have let me vote on that night. Because you already know they didn't let me vote. But what it is, exactly what's going on, that's exactly what I voted for. I'm still not complaining. I'm not listening to what the news is saying. I'm really not. Like, I see what they're saying. It's funny because I'm not listening because I watch it. But I'm like, okay, they're lying. They're embellishing. They're exaggerating. And it's not just on one. I'm like, even though it's the majority is coming, from leftist media, places like CNN, MSNBC, things like that. But then Fox is no angel neither. Mm-hmm. But one thing about Fox is that Fox has always had the same sort of. They've always had the same kind of stance.
You know who they are, pretty much.
Yeah, you know who they are. They're not. You're not. I see you for what you are.
Right.
Okay. You're not a snake dressed up as a kitty cat wanting me to pet you.
That's why they said wolf in sheep clothing.
Exactly. You're a wolf. You're letting me know you're a wolf. I will keep my distance. Thank you.
So there's a point you made where if you don't listen to the news, how do you cross-reference the information so you can decipher what is real from what is not?
You have to watch all sides. So I don't listen to the news. That doesn't mean I don't watch the news. Mm-hmm. When you listen to the news, that means you're believing what they're saying. I don't believe anything. I need facts.
Yeah, but how you going to... So
for instance, I'll watch CNN. Mm-hmm. I'll watch Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings is hilarious. I love Scott Jennings. I'll watch him. I'll watch a couple of other, I'll watch a couple. Most of the time, it's usually that, the hot seat, things like that. I'll watch that. Then I'll watch whatever's on Fox, okay? Then I'll look at certain clips that I see on Instagram. Then I'll I'll see certain clips that I see on Facebook. Then I look at certain clips on Reddit. I look at certain clips on X. And then from that, because I might be looking at certain clips, but they're all about the same subject. Mm-hmm. But I'm just trying to look at what everybody else is saying. They're not all saying the same thing. If they're both, like I've noticed with the left, CNBC, MSNBC, if you notice, their scripts align with each other perfectly. It's parallel. They're saying the same thing. Obviously, Fox is always saying the opposite of whatever they're saying, or vice versa. On X, you're gonna get more of an objective point of view. Only thing with X is that the freedom of speech is a little too free. You get into these certain spaces on X that, my man, you really. There's a lot of people on X that talk that you're not gonna talk like that in public because you'll get your jaw broke. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're acting like that. To be honest, with Instagram will show you all sides. So with Instagram, it's very tricky with Instagram. That's why I got to watch everything because.
What about CNN?
No, CNN. I watch CNN. But what makes me mad about CNN reports on everything. But they're not reporting objectively. You understand? They're stating their opinion. And as journalists, you are not supposed to be subjective. You are supposed to be objective, okay? They spin a certain narrative, okay? They exaggerate things, and they fearmonger, and that's what I don't like.
But remember, it's not all the time people would have, you have fill the gaps, right?
Of course.
So it's not all the time these networks is going to have the full shebang when they're reporting it. There are times when they report it and they have these missing gaps, mm-hmm. and they fill it with their opinions. So sometimes these are the things that are happening. Now, would I see anything wrong with it? Because it's, as what you said, is their opinion. Now, I have to go now and decipher and to find out that gap, what they fill with their opinion. Mm-hmm. Is this legit, or their opinion it falls short, or their opinion is right, spot on the money? Yeah. Even though they may not have the information to fill that gap with practical truth of whatever is happening.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, is like, how do you really walk away with 100% truth of what is really happening out there?
You're never going to walk away with 100% truth unless you saw it with your own eyes. You know that.
And right now in this age,
the best thing we can do as smart people, as critical thinkers, I fashion us to be critical thinkers. Even though you watch a lot of CNN, which we're going to get you out of that. I fashion us to be critical thinkers. So for the critical thinkers in the world, and there are critical thinkers. Remember, you have critical thinkers and you have sheep. Okay, the majority of society are sheep. They just believe whatever's told to them. Then you have critical thinkers. Critical thinkers are people who question things.
Right.
As a critical thinker, we research, because I've seen you do it. You know, you do it all the time. I know you watch a lot of CNN, but I know you also watch everything else. You watch Fox.
I watch Fox. I watch
I'm assuming
CNBC.
you're on Instagram. To be honest, Reddit's a gold mine.
Right.
You gotta start. My sister put me on Reddit. I always heard of it, but I never really. But Reddit is a gold mine. Reddit has a lot of good stuff. Like as far as you're gonna get your most accurate news on Reddit. And you're gonna get your most accurate news. But when I say accurate for a critical thinker, I'm saying maybe at most we might get 70% of the truth.
That's what I'm about to say. How do we define, or how do we know we're getting that 100% accuracy from that network?
Only time you can get 100% accuracy if you've seen it with your own eyes. And then after that, if you've seen it with your own eyes, who else is going to believe you?
And sometimes even seeing things with your own eyes is sometimes because there's illusion people create out there. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Well, those are delusional people. Those are delusional people. These are people that are easily persuaded. Mm-hmm. Okay? These are people that don't think for themselves. These are people that have a hive mind. Those are not necessarily critical thinkers. Remember, critical thinkers question everything, but they question everything in a practical way. See, there's a lot of people that they question. They just want to, you see, these liberals, right? Liberals. Mm-hmm. Liberals are supposed to be, supposedly, us and, me and liberals are in the same party. I don't agree with any kind of liberal ideology. As far as I'm concerned, they're wackos. They're miserable people. Mm-hmm. Okay, they complain about everything. And they find, even when there's nothing, say if you're talking about, I went to the park and I saw this beautiful bed of daisies. They will find the negative aspect in that sentence that you said. Oh, well, why can only daisies have a beautiful bed? Something like that. Mm-hmm. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, liberals are people that have problems for every solution. Instead of having a solution for every problem, they have problems for every solution. That's why when I tell people, yeah, I'm a Democrat, I'm not a liberal. It's not the same thing. Because, I live in reality. Now, as a critical thinker, which basically you and I are, Prime Minister Khalees, Mr. White is, I fashion ourselves to be critical thinkers because we question everything, but we question it in a practical manner. Okay?
Right,
even if we like really, really, dig deep, get on our rabbit hole and really dig deep and get all kinds of stuff, we're still only going to get maybe at most, like I said, 70% of the truth. That 30%, which is basically about 1/3, there's always going to be a toss-up with that. Right. So as far as, getting back to your question, how can we 100%? No, we can't unless we seen it ourselves. But then even if we seen it ourselves, say if me and you saw an alien, eat 5 people right here on, Boston Road. But it was 3 o'clock in the morning, me and you the only one that saw it. People gonna think we crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna be written off as nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna be written off as lunatics.
Exactly. Wait, so you mean to tell me you mean to tell me a prehistoric animal just came out the ground and ate 4 people on Boston Road and then went in the sewer? Yeah. What were you guys on? Nothing. They're gonna think we're crazy. They killed them. That's just human nature.
Yeah, get them. Get rid of them. Get rid
exactly.
of them.
Nah, but like I said, I don't think we can never. There's really no such thing as far as unless you've seen it with your own 2 eyes. There's really no way of getting 100% truth, and that's scary, especially when you're dealing with world affairs. You're dealing, these are major players of the world. Okay, this is a global thing. The most powerful people, the 50, 100 most powerful people on the globe. And they all playing with our lives. Everybody else, which is, 7 billion people,
right.
Whatever the case may be.
You use the term power, and I'm kind of want to shift, not to digress too deep into it, but I'm going to try to correlate it together. So, right. Shay Shay. I'm not sure if you heard in the news what's going on with him.
Oh, that he got accused of. But see, that's the other thing. Like, I'm saying, okay, they're trying to say, like, he sexually assaulted this girl?
Right. So, apparently,
I thought it was consensual.
Well, they have videos saying, showing otherwise.
Okay.
According to Shay Shay team, they're saying that the video was modified. But they said, we will show you the original video because we have the original video. We tried to show, according to the news, this was also on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And it's all over the internet. And he's like, I didn't have to dig up for this. Like I was digging up for Elon thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have to dig. It was just right in my face. So they are claiming that the young lady had video showing that she was really sexually molested. They were in a relationship.
Okay.
According to the accuser, they were
Yeah.
in a relationship, but there's certain things that she never condoned. I think has something to also, some of it has something to do with anal penetration, and this is not something that she did wanted to do. And she is abusive, verbally abusive, and physically abusive. And I think he's also threatened her.
Yeah.
To, like, if she, I think it was one incident where she didn't answer his call or something. I can't remember. I mean, it's out there in the news, and you can dig it up. And she went to him he went to her and says, "If you ever do this shit again, I'll kill you." Now, I don't know if he would have gone that far and that stupid, but people do dumb stuff. Yeah. So my question is to tie this. As I said, I don't want to stray, but you know, it's kind of something that came on my head, and I'm going to tie it in.
Yeah.
With people with power, I don't understand this. You have so much money, and I think he just signed, or he was about to sign a podcast, $100 million deal, and then this came out.
How convenient.
How convenient. And guess who's the lawyer? Her lawyer.
Who's her lawyer?
Remember Diddy?
Yeah.
Not Diddy, but the lawyer that was going after Jay-Z.
Sounds like a smear job to me.
You know, the lawyer was going after Jay-Z, right?
Yeah.
That girl came.
Yeah.
Forgot his name. She's the one. He's the one that the female obtained. And what I'm understanding, she's white. So Dr. Umar now, which somehow I don't like this guy because, number one,
I've never liked Dr. Umar.
I never liked him.
Umar,
these guys here,
Dr. Umar's a charlatan. That school done yet, Dr. Umar?
I don't. The funniest thing, he's promoting racism.
Yes, he is.
And my thing is this. I understand his premises, how some things he may come off
and he
with.
looks, Dr. Umar looks like one of those dudes that secretly chase white women, but that's something else. We'll continue.
So, yeah, I mean, when I looked at it, I was like, you don't realize that you promote racism, right? Some of his excuse are these guys, or even some of our cast here, our team here, they're behind him. I'm just like, you guys are blind or something. You know this guy is promoting racism. So they say, oh, but you got to understand what he's saying. What he's saying. Okay. So in the black community, you know that most of these rich, wealthy black guys, when they're married to these white females, 9 out of 10 when they get divorced, these females empty them out.
Of course, they get taken to the cleaners.
Right.
Because it's been a setup since jump, and they ain't even realize it.
The question is that the blacks do the same crap.
Of course.
It may be more prominent or more obvious with the white culture, but it's there still with the black race. They come in and they see a black wealthy man. They may be black as well, and they come in and they have one motive. I need to get into the riches
Clean
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they get in. Oh, no, I'm divorcing you, and they clean them out. No, again, it may be higher in the melanin side, the Caucasian side, than the black race, but it's there.
I think it's probably the same. They just publicize it when it happens.
Right.
When a white woman is cleaning out a black man.
And he's going around, oh, no snow bunny. No. And this is one of the things he came about. He's like, I'm with you, Shay, but you got to promise me one thing. I'm going to stand by you, but you got to promise me one thing. After this, no more snow bunnies for you. No more. How the heck you have some good quality white women out there, just like how you have good quality black women out there.
You're promoting division.
Exactly. We already in a division already, and you're not helping the situation.
No.
That's why, as I said, when I thought some of these guys, they're looking at it like, oh, you got to see the fact. I said, see what? I'm not going to see. I'm seeing it into his bullshit.
Mike, the man of them, he's a charlatan. You know what a charlatan is?
No, enlighten me.
A charlatan is basically, he's a con. He's a con artist. Okay, he's not. There is no conviction in what he says. I've watched this man. Like at first it's funny because at first I thought he was an okay guy. This was, a few years ago initially when he was trying to get that school done, which is still not done. But he took all that money from people. And then when I started noticing, like, you're promoting you're promoting the division with no more snow bunnies and things like that. Like I said, he reminds me, because all I deal with is sisters Everybody knows that about me. My woman right now, I got a beautiful sister. Beautiful lady. You know what I'm saying? He reminds me of one of those black dudes that you can't get a beautiful sister the way I can. Because you don't have that same kind of aura that I got, even though the way I look, even though I look like a Caucasian.
Right.
You don't got that kind of aura. He's a cornball. And you can tell he's a cornball. He's one of those dudes, like, look, I remember one interview, right? They're debating. I think it was on Breakfast Club or something like that. And I noticed he was losing the argument. He was talking with, he was going back and forth with Charlemagne. Charlemagne's a smart dude. People sleep on Charlemagne. People get mad because Charlemagne knows how to Charlemagne knows how to piss people off, but Charlemagne is a real smart dude. So he's losing the argument with Charlemagne. Do you know what simple people do when they're losing an argument? To make it seem like they're winning?
They started deflecting, started creating lies.
They start raising their voice.
Or they started yelling or something like that. Or
they're one of those people.
They want to end the conversation.
Exactly. No, but they think, because just because you're loud doesn't mean you're right.
Correct.
So you're sitting there loud and wrong. And I noticed he did that a few times. It just wasn't on that interview. It was on another interview. And then a lot of things started falling. Like I said, this whole, it was a couple of $1 million you took in donations for that school. That still hasn't been built.
What happened to the money?
What happened to the money? And then when people question you about that, you try to deflect, and you want to start yelling and screaming. I'm not sure people know, I'm a third generation con artist. Third generation. My grandfather was a con artist. My father's a con artist.
So you know the con artist.
I'm a con artist. I know a con. I could smell nonsense I'm trying not to curse. I could smell nonsense and BS a mile away. When I started seeing that, at first, I liked you. Okay, but I didn't really know. But then I started watching more. And obviously, I don't know you personally. But from what I can gather, body language, the kind of things that you do, a person of conviction, a person that has ethics, if they're wrong in an argument, or if they feel, if the facts isn't right, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, you know what, I was wrong, you were right.
That's a man.
You're not going to sit
Tell
here
some
and try
people
and argue
that.
your point.
Tell some people that.
Yeah, that's accountability.
Be a man and stop being a child.
That's accountability. That's accountability. Now, I can
exactly
when you're passionate about something. But when I'm asking you, what happened to this $2 million that you raised a couple of years ago, and you can't give me a straight answer, and then you try to change the subject on me or move the goalposts and start yelling and screaming.
What's that going to prove?
So who are we playing with?
What's that going to prove? Exactly.
What if we was in the streets? Take it for the streets. You know what I'm saying? We're a big drug dealing crew. And I just hit this dude off with 2 bricks. 2 bricks. That means you got to give me $48,000 for each brick, supposedly. So I've heard. Right? I need $96,000. You got a month to get my money. I see you a month later. You dripped out, BMW. Okay, you must have my money. Where's my money? And you try to move the goalposts and start yelling and screaming of why you ain't got my money, you're going to get your head blown off immediately. That's in that world.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the equivalent. You just stole $2 million from these people that believe. You stole money from people that believed in you.
But again, that's the thing. They get so caught up into his foolishness and his promotion of division that they cannot see. They just get high. I mean, I didn't know about that. Huh? About him collecting so much money to build a school.
It was a couple of $1 million. That was the whole thing. That's why everybody keeps joking on him, and that's why he keeps trying to clean up his name, or he keeps doing certain things. You keep doing certain things to deflect. Bro, ain't nobody forget about that $2 million.
Deflect, right.
Ain't nobody forget about that $2 million. See, with someone like me, if I was to ask him that, he's gonna try to pull the race card on me, Playboy.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just look like the other side.
He gonna try to pull.
But where you're scared to be at, that's why those are my drinking buddies. That's why I play cards at. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like for people like that, that's not you're not a man of integrity. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You're not holding yourself accountable. So anything else you do after that, it doesn't matter what you did after that. It doesn't matter whether the things that you were doing were actually good things. You already set yourself up, in my eyes, that you're dishonest.
Yeah, man, integrity. Don't behave like how you would behave.
Exactly. And then people flip it on me. Oh, well, Trump's like that. I said, well, Trump's always been like that. I don't. The man holds no qualms about who he is.
Well, see, the difference is that with Trump, he told you I'm a lion, I'm a snake, I'm a cobra. But not like this guy, he come on with this cliche.
Exactly.
Like, I'm the prophet. Yeah. I came to save you.
No, and then he came to say, well, who said I need to be saved? And then it's funny because it's people like that that's even with the whole thing with Pan-Africanism. There is no such thing as, where's Pan-Africa? Let me know, where's Pan-Africa? I've never heard of Pan-Africa in my life. I've heard of Africa, which is a continent.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't hear other Africans. If we know, obviously we know Africans. We know Nigerians, we know Ghanaians, we know Moroccans. Do they ever say they're African? Every person I know from that country that's in the continent of Africa, they do not say I'm African. They say I'm Ghanaian.
They tell you what
I'm
country,
Congolese.
what country they're from.
Exactly. I'm South African. I'm Ethiopian.
I'm Ghana.
I'm Eritrean. I'm Ghanaian. I'm Moroccan. Because they know. The people here in this, here on our side,
in our continent,
they're not educated to that. You're being tricked. It's people like that. People like Dr. Umar. He's not for his people. He's for himself.
And
he's no worse than these.
What is thing? I mean, I guess he has a degree in what?
He has I think he has a degree. It's
got to be a PhD.
He has a PhD in like theology or something like that, or some liberal arts, or he's an English major. He knows a lot of big words. It's not necessarily he doesn't have. It's not necessarily a degree of It's not a degree of substance. It's not
like medicines or
exactly. It's not a degree of contingency. You understand? So it's not. That's what I mean. Like just certain people like that. So for him to say that, look, like what you said, you answered it yourself when you said it. Shannon Sharp was on the cusp of signing $100 million deal, and then all of a sudden this comes out. Mm-hmm. Shay, you pissed somebody off, bro. You pissed somebody off.
I always wonder why these guys with power. You should understand by now. I mean, there's so many history out there where guys with power, whether it's black or white, some of them, not all, but some of them, and maybe majority of them, have a different motive. You have to tread on water, or on, as what they said, broken bottles, because at the end of the day, you slip. The moment you look on someone, you look on them too hard, you can even date them, and you look on them too hard. Oh, you're trying to rape me? Oh, sexual abuse.
Yeah.
One of the things which
you got a target on your back.
One of the things with Cuomo, I respect him as a good leader. Unlike this joker where we have in power. I mean, I'm just so dying for him for election to come out so they can get rid of his.
Oh, Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adams played him. No, what's funny is that with
he
Adams,
played himself.
Right? Adams kills me, right? Because as long as I can remember, when you were police, when you were Brooklyn Borough President, even as mayor, you were crooked as the letter S. Mm-hmm. You were always crooked. Anybody that lives in New York knows that about you. Then you get caught up for taking that money from the Turkish nationals, whatever the hell he did. I'm not sure if it was money, stock options. He got some sort of kickback from Turkish nationals. That's why he got in trouble with the feds.
And he was pressuring the fire department to get passed.
And then, we kind of find out what's funny because I remember when that initially happened, he said something that he was going to cooperate with the feds. And then, I think his deputy mayor stepped down. A couple of city officials stepped
a lot
down.
of majors were stepping down.
Most likely he was going to tell on them. And then all of a sudden, now you want to switch. Now you want to be righteous. Now you want to do good. Because I'm not going to lie. What he's been saying, he's been telling some truth. But I'm like, now you want to do that.
But now you want to do this.
Now you want to do that.
Why you have 4 years?
Because you're in trouble. You understand? And now you're trying to dig your way out. I don't respect that. Be a man, bro. Be a man.
I don't understand
if I'm going to be a villain,
politicians.
I'm going to be a villain to the day I die.
I
will hold no. That's why. See, that's not real power. See, you know what real power is? What people don't understand, Donald Trump, that's real power. Why? That man don't bend. Look at what happened. How many times they tried to kill this dude already?
Is that for real?
I'm like, even if it's not, but how many times they tried to kill him? Look at all the things that they were doing as far as trying to throw him in jail, throw all these bogus charges, which are now all getting thrown out. Letitia James, the same thing that she was accusing him for, that's what she was doing, right? That's what she's getting accused for right now for those houses in Virginia.
Well, the 34 counts is still sticking.
Yeah, but they're about to drop that.
They can't drop that.
Trust me.
It's a state. It's a state.
It's going to get dropped.
Federal.
It's going to get dropped because they remember he was never convicted of them.
Of course he did.
No, because he would have served time.
No. You didn't see what the judge did? Because he was going back in power, and I blame the judge for this.
Uh-huh.
The judge should have. Excuse me. The judge should have, when he went at the time, which it was in October or September, or way before that, when he's supposed to go to trial and send his conviction, They keep on getting pressured from Trump's lawyer to postpone this after election.
Mike, watch. You're going to see. Before his term is over,
He's not going to drop.
those charges are going to drop. He will have a clean name before he's in it, because I don't think Trump has, what, Trump's 78 years old?
I think,
He
yeah,
might have another good 10
Biden
years. He
is
might have
not,
another good 10 years under his belt. He's going to have, but before that man, is laid to rest.
well, hopefully if I live to
He's
see
gonna
that
have a
long,
clean
and
slate.
you and I live to see that long, we'll see. But I'm strongly
Well,
down.
of course we're going to be living. We're here. We're not going nowhere.
I don't know what tomorrow can provide, man. I can be sitting here in a bullet. I mean, not creating or what they call it, bad mouthing myself.
Yes, of course.
But I live in actuality. You
Yeah.
know, people
No,
get
me
up.
too.
People get up every day and hoping that they're going to go home the next day or
Yeah.
the same day, and they never will. So,
Well, I already know
God,
my
by
spirit.
By God's grace, we will hear for the next 4 years,
Yeah.
and we'll see the real issue.
Watch, we're gonna have more money in our pocket. What's funny is that in the next 4 years, I can't wait, because it's gonna be funny where I hear so many people saying, "Wow, I was wrong," and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, you were."
I don't think that's coming anytime soon. And
Yeah, watch, you'll see.
I wouldn't say in anytime soon. I don't think that is coming. Based on his roadmap, is more hell coming financially. The boys, as what I always say, my boys, them always saying that the route what homeboy is running, is Buffett and Spandam. The route what he's running, he's tipping this country in a recession. And sure enough, it's you see
That's fear mongering.
You see what do you call it?
Remember, it got to get bad before it gets good. We're not gonna go into a recession.
Yeah, but I mean that's not supposed to be the case. You don't need
That
to,
is supposed to be.
You
the
don't
case.
need
That's how
to
it
go-
always the case.
You don't need to go. So you're telling me for me to get healthy, I gotta get sick? Doesn't make
No,
any
because
sense.
you're looking at it. I'm talking about for things to get. I'm like, in some cases, yeah, for you to get healthy, you have to get sick.
How? That's not how it functions.
Because if you get sick, now you know exactly what to fix so you can be healthy. You understand?
Yeah, but again, I would know the process of avoiding getting sick and keep on being healthy. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to go get sick. Oh, okay.
Well,
so
no, I'm not saying
this was the case then. So now I'm not going to do that
Well,
anymore.
no, it's not saying for you intentionally to get sick. But what I'm saying
I understand
is
the
that
logic.
as far as let's put it this way, like as basically what's going on right now is destroy and rebuild. So right now we are in the destroy part, where things are going to get bad. There's going to be a lot of things. A lot of people are going to suffer. I don't think me and you are going to suffer. You know why? Because we work. We earn our keep.
But yeah,
we'll
people,
figure out a way.
You have family
But
members
there's
out.
people, and trust me, if you have family members and they have loved ones, then people will look after them. But there's some people that they're going to be asked out, and that's just what it is.
But how is it going to be better if that's the case? You're
What do
going to
you mean
have
how it's gonna be
you're going to
better?
have 10 people and maybe four out of the 10 working and
Phoenix-
making minimum wage.
A phoenix
Your
rises
rent-
from the ashes, right?
Your rent is $2,500
Uh-huh.
a month, $2,500
Does a
a
phoenix
month.
rise from the ashes? Does a phoenix rise from the ashes?
Yes,
All right.
but that's still not.
What you mean? Because it has to get bad before it gets good. A phoenix is rising from the ashes because obviously there was a fire before the phoenix rise from the ashes, correct? And the fire most likely destroyed everything. And when it destroyed everything, it left ashes. And then what does the ashes do?
They rebuild it.
The ashes goes back into the ground. It renutriates the ground, or whatever you want to call it.
But it didn't need that.
And then a phoenix rises from the ashes. No, that's the same thing. That's the same. America is bad. The United States, we haven't been good. We haven't been good for probably longer than me and you have been on this planet.
I would subscribe to that.
And it's about time that something, I doubt, like I said, you can't obviously fix everything. You can't undo everything that has been going on for the last 100 years. Because that's basically what it is. It's basically been a 100-year con on the American people, citizens, nationals, whatever you want to call us. It's been a 100-year con. So obviously you can't undo a 100-year con job in 4 years. But you could damn sure make a dent, which is what he's doing. But unfortunately, when you're making dents, you're making noise, there's going to be casualties.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the
people
thing
gotta
is,
be prepared
the
for
thing
that.
is, he's trying to get centuries years of work done within 4 years. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not. But he's trying to get as much as he's done. But
It's not gonna
unfortunately,
happen.
that's the extreme measure that got to
And
take.
the problem what we as Americans
Mm-hmm.
is facing right now is that A lot of these companies ship out to China. Apple, Ford, all of them ship out to China and started having the mass production overseas.
Yeah.
Because what? They're trying to avoid the taxes here.
But they're all going to bring it back over here. Watch
but
all these companies start building factories
so
over here.
You think building a factory is as what my boy upstairs, Bully, said, is no boy game?
What do you mean?
Meaning that this is not a kid gonna do this. Meaning that, how to explain it? It doesn't take a boy to do this. It's a man's work.
Yeah.
So trying to build and trying to put back an infrastructure over after centuries of destruction within 4 years. They have a word they call it impossible. Impossibly. That's not going to happen. Okay, you're making your effort to try to do that. But you realize that you cannot do this over 4 years. Your bulldogging behavior is not going to work. What my suggestion and what I would have done
It
in
gets
this
the
position.
ball rolling for the next candidate.
Yeah, but who knows who's coming in? Let's say we have another Democrat come back in power.
Yeah, but hopefully what it is, but see, what it doesn't matter whether it's going to be a Democrat or Republican in power. There has to be a true bipartisanship. So what that means, say for instance, if we have a Democrat incumbent that's going to run for president, he has to be able to agree with the other side. Not constantly be at odds with them with every single issue. There has to be an agreement there. There has to be somewhere, you guys got to meet somewhere 50, 60% down the road, to make things really work. That's really what it comes down to. You understand? Because the fact that there is so much division, whether it's amongst people, whether it's amongst political parties, whether it's amongst ideologies, when you keep separation like that or you keep arguing, then the powers that be are winning because that's what they want. It is divide and conquer. It is one of the oldest tricks in the book, and it's still being run on us. It's still the same MO, and what only thing the game never changes, just the players.
Right.
So, what really needs to happen? You have somebody like Trump. He's trying to get the ball rolling. Like I said, yeah, he's a bulldog. He's not. He has no tact. He has no finesse.
He don't have correct. He have no tactfulness.
So say for instance, but you get the ball rolling. Okay, you smooth things out as time goes on. Okay, now your 4 years is almost up. Either J.D. Vance runs, or they get a Democratic incumbent. Hopefully they don't get some batshit crazy person to run from on my Democratic ticket because I still am a registered Democrat. They get somebody with some sort of sense, some sort of decorum, some sort of semblance of working together, of being in unison, true bipartisanship, and then this way, okay, you know what? Even though I'm a Democrat and the last administration was Republican, let me talk with these guys. Let me see if we can, because there's some. I know, even though they don't want to say it in public, I know that there's certain people on the Democratic side that are actually agreeing with what's going on, that agree with some of the things that the administration is doing. They don't want to say it out loud because, they're in fear of being ousted.
Oh, there's a few
Democrats.
Democrats.
So somebody got to have enough balls, enough gumption to actually sit down and be like, okay, Democrats, okay, this is 2028. Vance didn't win. The Democratic incumbent won. He has to really sit down and be like, okay, we have to figure out a way to work with the other side. I don't want to go back and forth with them. Because you notice what's happening now. I'm like, even though they're doing things, you're going back and forth, nothing is happening. Because for every 2 steps they're trying to push forward, they get pushed back. 2 steps. And then you're trying to go 2 steps, then you get pushed back. You know what this means? You're just doing this all day. Nothing's happening. You're not going forward, you're not going back, you're not doing nothing for 4 years. It's counterproductive. And then this whole time, the powers that be, the people that already have the structure set up that's been getting money, they're just getting more money. And which they're getting more money, they're getting more influence, they're getting more power, they're getting more shit. Look, this whole time, if you notice both sides, right? Neither side criticizes Israel. Why is that? All right then. You want to find out who's in power? You want to find out who's in power?
I don't even want to touch that because...
No, exactly. You see what I mean? You see what I mean?
Because this is foolishness.
If you want to find out who's in power, you have to see who are you not allowed to criticize. And who are we not allowed to... See, I criticize anybody because ain't nobody going to tell me anything. I'm my own man.
I criticize constructively, non-constructive. Constructively right across the board, right? If you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I want people to tell me the same thing. You're wrong, you're wrong. I'm a person where I own up to my accountabilities.
Of
right?
course.
So
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have because I'm not gonna gain anything. There's nothing to say, you know what? I'm wrong, brother.
Yeah.
I'm wrong, sister. But at the same time, be accountable person who you can sit down as team leaders, sit down and discuss, put our differences, our opinions aside.
Yeah.
Our objective is to please the American people, to make the people, because they're the one who put you in power.
Exactly.
So our objective
Government works
is
for the people. People don't work for the government.
Right.
People
Our
need to understand
objective is to please the people, not them pleasing us. At the end of the
Exactly.
day, they put us there to help them elevate, to help them build a better life. And if we whoremongering them, giving them all type of bull crap, and so forth. I mean, what are you gonna think? Some of them, I mean, I laugh at it because some of them right now who was hardcore for Trump and they get their butt fired right now. They said, "But I voted for Trump." I said, "Oh, good. More is coming."
Well, then they should have been more valuable at whatever job they had.
Well, they were. I mean, more likely they were working for the government.
Look, let's put it this way: if I voted, well, I wanted to vote for Trump, like you said. They didn't let me vote. But I can wholeheartedly say right now, I work in the United States Postal Service. You know that. I work on the corporate side, to where Doge is on my side. They're cutting people out.
Yeah, I know they're going after.
If I was to get terminated by Doge, I wouldn't be mad, because obviously I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't performing at the level that I was needed to perform. Whether or not I was told about that, I'm a grown man. I'm an adult, and I am accountable for my sick.
But remember,
for my
they're not
actions.
coming after individuals. They're coming after a group, meaning like whoever, for instance, if you have 20 people in, let's say, DEI, right? The 20 people who in DEI, they eliminating DEI, period.
Good, because the whole diversity, equity,
example.
and inclusion. If you and it's funny because I just saw something on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It was another video, really good video. I'm gonna send it to you. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not what you think it is. It is very racist. It is very divisive.
Right, right.
And if you really think of it, what's funny is that they try to make it diversity, equity, inclusion, and they try to make black folk or people of color the poster child for it. But if you go down the list of who they're benefiting, the poster child, who they want, people of color to be a poster child for this, they're like 4th or 5th on the list. So first on the list to take care of in diversity, equity, and inclusion would be white women. Second on that list to be taken care of in diversity, equity, inclusion is people of the LGBTQIA or whatever the hell you want, or whatever you want to call them. So therefore, that DEI, that whole initiative was nonsense. That was one of the components in breaking down America, in turning it into what it is now, to where people are confused, people don't know, people are angry, they don't know exactly what to be angry for. People are scared to say things in fear of being canceled.
It was supposed to bring a balance.
And it didn't. All it did was impede on our freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Our freedom of choice. Can't nobody force me to if I agree, okay, fine, yeah, that's you. That's fine. Keep that away from me. I got no problem with you. Don't bring that around me.
I agree to the extent, but at the same time, I think these guys, because if, for instance, hypothetical, like say Doge come after their department, they're not just these guys were even thinking of erasing the post office completely. I mean, like,
they can never do that. We're in the Constitution. You do that, you got to break up the Constitution. How
you gonna do something like that? No, these are what these guys were entertaining.
Yeah, but they can't. They were entertaining it. Say that do you have any idea how long they've been trying to get rid of the post office or privatize?
Yeah,
the post office?
From Obama time.
They've been trying to do that since 1973, when we were under. Remember, the post office was under the Department of Commerce, and then in 1973 we became a quasi-federal agency, which basically means that we are a private entity owned by the federal government. Okay, we are the only government agency that generates our own money. Like, your taxes that you pay, things like that, that does not pay my salary. What pays my salary is the money that the
is
post
what
office
you guys
generates.
make.
Now, Social Security Administration, people that work for Social Security, people that work for the VA, people that work for the Department of Defense, all these politicians that have been in, Congress for 45 years, they get paid from taxpayer money. The post office is not. So they've been trying to do that because the post office is a cash cow. People don't really understand how much money the post office generates. They're more than just mail.
I thought there were some financial challenges. I think this was a little bit actually within Obama time.
No, what happened in 2006? Congress passed something on this 75-year pre-fund. Now, mind you, the post office was always in the black. They were always in the black. You know what it means to be in the black, be in the red.
Right.
They were always in the black. They were always profitable. Congress passes this bill, 75-year pre-fund, some nonsense. Basically, it was a get. Because whoever was in charge of that, usually the Board of Governors are in charge of the post office. You have a Postmaster General, but then he has to report to the Board of Governors, which is, these governors, these senators, those are the guys that you would see Louis DeJoy arguing with on C-SPAN, questioning him, giving him the grill. They did that because that was their own personal piggy bank. Because from 2006, I want to say, we just got that back. Matter of fact, Louis DeJoy got it back, I think. We just got that back. So they had that pre-fund for about 16 years. Okay? They accumulated a couple of $1 trillion in that pre-fund. So where most likely they will use them, like they're not going to say it out in public, but most likely, like I said, with my logic is that I always lead it wherever the money leads to, that's where the real reason, that's what's really happening. It all comes down to the money. So they did Pretty that much. Because this was their own personal piggy bank, whoever's in charge of the Board of Governors, who would be, whatever the case may be, senators, people in the Department of Commerce. Now, ever since when that happened, the post office was in the red. Never turned a profit. I think they went through like 3 postmaster generals, and then when they got DeJoy in, who Trump appointed, when they got DeJoy in, DeJoy got that back. So now now the post office has their money back, and now the Board of Governors, or the powers that be that have their money in that cookie jar, was in charge of controlling the funds. They don't have access to that no more. So now they're talking about privatizing or entertaining it, which they can't, because the post office, the United States Postal Service, is in the Constitution. So if you do privatize it, you have to break up the U.S. Constitution. A lot of people don't understand that because people don't read. See, like me, I read.
That is for facts.
Yeah, they regurgitate nonsense. You know that. Like I said, we're critical thinkers. In order for me to be a critical thinker, I have to read. I have to get I get information from everywhere. I listen to here saying gossip and nonsense just like everybody else. But I know what to filter out. I know what sounds like garbage. I know what sounds okay, maybe the truth is a little outlandish, but that could be honest. I know what's a blatant lie. I know when somebody's just trying to push a narrative to make it seem, for people to persuade to see their, for people to persuade, to persuade people their way to see their narrative as they see fit, which was what a lot of people do. You understand? That's what the news has done. That's what media's done. They become subjective instead of becoming objective. And this is what has happened. It's gone rampant. So for something like that, like I was saying with the post office, they're saying they're entertaining it, but they're just saying that. They're not going to do anything. And if they are going to do it, they will get brought up on a lot of crimes because it's against it. You're violating constitutional rights. The
way things are going right now, this Constitution may even fall apart too because of how these things are going. A little quick, still dealing with our political realm locally. So we kind of touched it a little bit, but I want to kind of emphasize a little bit more.
All right.
So we have our few mayors is running for our coming up election, and Cuomo is one of them. This is one of the things, and I think this is where the story with kind of Shay was kind of tied in. Now we know Cuomo history again with these females taking stuff like that.
Yeah, that they forced when he wasn't with their agenda or whatever agenda they were trying to push for New York State. Then all of a sudden Cuomo gets pushed in this scandal, and then all of a sudden he steps down as governor, and then this is when they have the puppet Hochul step in.
So the question is, one of the things that what frustrated me are I am not condoling if he had done it. I don't think the case has gone through the court system to really determine it's true or false.
Yeah.
It kind of just put on the back burner and just faded out.
Yeah.
Right? So if
that was another smear job, probably.
if he had done something like that, I will never condole anyone to sexually abuse anyone, whether it's male or female or whatever the case may be. Never supported that. However, one of the problems I have with this story is this. On a particular lady, I'm not sure about for the rest. So after the election, I think the Democrats won, and somewhere down the line, some news were floating around that the possibility they're entertaining Cuomo to bring him in the White House, meaning give him some, whether it's Secretary of State or some type of other job, right? Mm-hmm. One of the abuser came out and says, "Oh, he rapes me too." So they asked her, of all these time, why you wait until now to come up? Oh, well, because the White House is considering him. So you're not doing it based on ethics or principle. No. You're doing it because he may elevate in life.
Exactly.
And you're trying to manhandle or put a stumbling block. So it's not based on you doing it because you felt disrespectful.
No. You're doing it because you're a hater and you're miserable.
And I was like, and I'm sitting there and I was like, and the society still allow this crap to happen?
Because like I've told you, what did I just say earlier? The majority of society is sheep. They're mindless. They follow.
It is crazy.
They're followers. They're not leaders. They're not critical thinkers. And on top of that, they're miserable people. Don't you understand? Misery loves company. Like you just said, look, because he's moving into okay, and you could if he really wronged you, you would have said
you'd have come out a long time ago. Let's give it. Let's say okay.
That's what that whole cancel culture movement. That was a movement created by losers. That was a movement created by people that got participation awards. You understand? That's where the whole cancel culture comes from. That is created by losers and haters. You're not a winner. You understand? You don't strive to win. You have no ambition. You say you have no drive. But then you have the nerve to get mad at people that do. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that are morally wrong, but they have drive, they have ambition. You know, they get to it. That might have been the case with Cuomo. I'm not saying Cuomo's an angel.
Yeah, I'm not supporting I'm not supporting it.
Yeah, but I agree 100%. But you don't say nothing. You don't say anything. So if he just would have stood a regular guy or just stood governor of New York,
you would just left it alone.
You would have left it alone.
That's my problem. It would have been
a story for you to tell your grandparent, your grandkids when you were little.
That is my problem.
When you get older. But the fact that he's going into the White House,
the possibility,
which is the highest in the land.
The funniest thing is not even, it was a consideration.
Yeah, it was a consideration.
So it wasn't like they select him. Okay, Cuomo is going to be such and such.
That's a hater's mentality.
They were considering.
Yeah.
You know, they can bring it. And I'm like, and then you come out with this crap?
That's a hater's mentality. And let me tell you something. And you know what's good? It's good, but it's good that you find people like that. Because let me tell you, that is a hater's mentality. That is a loser's mentality. If you ever come across people that agree with the downfall of somebody else that has nothing to do with them, you stay far away from them as possible because those people are haters. They're going to be losers for the rest of their lives. I tell people that. I don't care. Because, on top of once I got hands, I can fight. Don't matter to me. I tell people to their face, you're a loser. You're a hater. I said, if you're celebrating another man's downfall, I have enemies. I have real life enemies in my life. I have enemies that people that I would never pray for their downfall. If you lost or whatever happened to you, that's on you. I would never pray for your downfall. I would never celebrate your downfall. Even somebody that tried to take my own life, I'm not going to celebrate your downfall. I might try to take your life because you tried to take mine first, but I'm not going to celebrate your downfall.
You got to defend yourself.
I'm not going to celebrate your downfall. You know what I'm saying? That's not. I consider myself a warrior. That's a code of a warrior. So people that do people that celebrate other people's downfalls, they're losers. It doesn't matter how evil that person was. I don't celebrate Diddy's downfall. I'm like, we've been to he's a dirtbag for 30 years. Yeah, it's about time, but I don't celebrate it. I'm like, I wish you never were like that. You know what I'm saying? I wish they didn't. They didn't get Mike. If you notice, we don't even hear anything about Diddy anymore. So I'm assuming he must have be back in good graces or paid enough money out, or maybe he's broke now.
No, he went to court and they rejected it. He's trying to postpone the trial. Yeah. And they just said, this is not going to happen. Go back to jail and wait until your trial date. You're not getting out of this.
Yeah, he's not getting out. Look, R. Kelly. I love R. Kelly's music. He's a pedophile. I don't agree with pedophiles. It was a sad thing. Did I celebrate the man's downfall? No, I didn't celebrate his downfall. He's sick. He's a sick individual. Don't come around nobody in my family.
I mean, I'm trying to understand, right? I know you have, especially in today's time, you have females out there that are 14, 12, and they look like they're 25, 26, and stuff like that,
they're
right?
hypersexual.
So I understand certain aspect, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you are a powerful artist.
Yeah.
You can, I wouldn't want to say, because maybe the female industry may get offended.
Yeah.
But in reality, these guys could, and females is at their disposal.
Yeah.
Right? Any type. Whether it is Beyonce look, whether it's what's her name? The other singer there, she was really popular. She was dating this football player, and she was really thick.
You talking about
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion,
Right.
yes.
Et cetera, and keep on Nicki Minaj and go and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go on and go on and go on. You have chicks out there, whether they're popular or they're non-popular, whatever the case may be, have looks like those where you can. Why are you gonna put yourself in these situations with these? And some of the chicks, when I'm looking at it, with specifically with R. Kelly,
I think more so that's a psychological thing.
I'm like,
R. Kelly's a sick puppy. Most likely, R. Kelly was probably molested when he was younger by somebody older than him, because that's all psychological. Like that's like, the fact that you're a grown man, and you're attracted to teenage girls. That's not. And like we said, we've seen some of these women. We've seen some of these women, but what it is, you have to. When you get to a certain age, or when you're like, wait a minute, I can't. I don't have kids, but my friends got daughters that age.
Yeah, and the thing is,
You know what I mean?
To clarify, is that it doesn't mean because you have the money at this point, because you have females out there who would also trap you.
Yeah.
Grown females, 25, 30, whatever the case may be, would also trap you and set you up. So it's not just like, but if you premeditate to go into this lower industry, I call it lower industry, meaning kids, females who are underage.
Yeah.
And I don't understand also with these guys who find young boys attractive sexually. You know what?
That's sick.
Let's move it. Move it.
That's tormented.
But,
yeah. These are tormented individuals. And 9 times out of 10, they were molested when they were kids.
It is possible.
Yeah.
It is possible. And some of them wind up turning to homosexuals and stuff like that. And
definitely.
these are one of the things they preach out there. This is where it's coming from. Some of them
100%.
claim that they were born this way. I never, to be honest with you, based on how I raised, based on some of the knowledge what I have, and some of it is coming biblically. I mean, you see my other half, Mike, we go toe to toe at times when it comes to religion.
I love it.
Yeah, we go toe to toe when it comes to religion. But at the same time, is that I kind of lost train of thought where I was gonna kind of tie down. But if it comes back, I'll just maybe I just need to leave it alone. That's why I lost train of thought. But
it's a hard subject to discuss.
On short term, is that what do you see? Who do you think between these races? Who you think would be a good? I think Cuomo would be also a good. I'm gonna support him 1,000%. Who else?
Who's the other candidate?
You have a few candidates. This guy just jumped in the race. He was I forgot. It's about 3 of them, including that corrupted beast.
Hochul?
No, Hochul is not involved. I'm talking about Adams. I'm talking about him, including him, and then you have Cuomo,
All right.
and then you have, I think, 2 other persons. One just jumped into the race too. I forgot his name. He's from some local.
Who's running on the Republican ticket for New York?
That's a good question.
You don't know?
It's a good question.
I mean, most likely, I like Cuomo. Cuomo, remember his dad was the governor of New York.
Regardless of what he's done,
he's a legacy. I mean, I wouldn't mind having Cuomo as the mayor, but I hope you're not going to be on the same nonsense that Eric Adams is on. I hope you're not going to be on the same nonsense that Bloomberg was on. Bloomberg was
Oh, those guys are corrupted to the core.
and the thing with Bloomberg, right? Like, Bloomberg, the man is a financial genius.
He's a criminal.
But because of him, exactly. But because of him, this is why New York is impossible to live in. You understand? To where he's the one that made the city expensive as it is now. To where you're paying $2,600 a month for a one-bedroom apartment on 237th and Carpenter Avenue.
Putting rules, laws, and according to some information that he has some system what he set up within the government industry right now, and he already left the office and he's still benefiting from it. I don't know for a fact that he said 311 was a part of his infrastructure. And some other governmental stuff that he owns. I don't know how true that is. I don't want to take that and run with it. However, what do I know is this. This is why I said he's a criminal. Now, because you agreed, you're out of adolescent years, you're 60 to 70 years old.
He illegally finagled that third term.
Billion.
He illegally finagled that third term.
Illegally.
He finagled that third term because he was not supposed to serve 3 terms.
This is where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Because of his greed, corruption, and his immature behavior. I wouldn't even say because they know what they were doing at the end of the day. This man finessed these other people to allow him to go into power for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
What is the bombarded or the bomb? What a word I'm looking for. Oh, the crazy thing about this is that this man went to the power. He won. He spent almost millions of dollars.
Well, remember, he spent, in his first mayoral campaign, remember, he bankrolled his own campaign.
Right.
He spent $69 million.
He, just like the last one, he just lost by a couple of points, and he spent so many $1 million, and that's the 3rd term. And he won just by a handful.
People always forget, remember, he only took $1.
He has a strategy.
Yeah.
So my thing is this.
His net worth went from $3 billion when he first took the office to 12 years later to where it was $27 billion.
Mm-hmm. And after he created that corrupted, that's why all of them too, the ones who signed off with him and get him to the 3rd power, resign.
Yeah, because they all got kickbacks.
Yeah, disappear. And then he said, oh yeah, I'm back in power now. He reversed it.
Yeah.
Back to the 2 term. So I'm saying, did you go to school? Do you do your math? Or logics?
Yeah.
Do your logics hit you? If you reverse it, that means you are in office illegally.
Yeah.
So you should vacate.
Yeah.
But nobody said anything.
Money talks, man.
Money talks, and they said,
Money
what?
talks.
Bullcrap war.
But I feel like, let's put it this way. I mean, just if you really think of it. I mean, if we break down all the mayors in New York, I mean, Ed Koch, he was a great New Yorker.
Dinkins, I like Dinkins.
I like Dinkins, and I felt bad. Dinkins got a raw deal, man, because Dinkins inherited a mess. I always liked David Dinkins, and I remember when he became the mayor, and he inherited a mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, Koch left him a mess. Koch was a great New Yorker, but Koch left him a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And Dinkins only got 4 years. He didn't even get a chance. And then after Dinkins, then you had Giuliani. Giuliani made New York into a police state. Now, I like Giuliani for the fact that he's a Yankee fan. Every time the Yankees won a World Series,
I'll tell you what I like him for.
You know what I'm saying?
Even though I don't like his guts, his character.
He made it a police state, okay? And then right after him, then you have Bloomberg comes in. Bloomberg makes New York as expensive as what it is. Then after Bloomberg, then you have this idiot de Blasio, who's not even from here, from Boston. He was set to lose. Then all of a sudden, he puts a video up of some half black, half white kid with an afro. We kind of find out it's his kid. All of a sudden, de Blasio wins the mayoral race. I remember that. Okay? So then after de Blasio does whatever he does, because, he was completely useless, then we get Eric Adams.
The biggest corruption.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised the city's still standing. I mean, the last great mayor was probably, the closest to the last great mayor was probably Koch. But Koch, remember, Koch had the crack. Remember, Koch was mayor. Koch was the last 3-term mayor, but that was legal. And then after Koch, after Koch had gotten out of office, that's when they changed it over to 2, because Koch was actually mayor for 3 terms. Mm-hmm. So Koch was mayor of New York for 12 years. So obviously, he had New York during the crack epidemic, everything like that. And obviously, New York was in debt. New York was losing a lot of money because if you noticed, I want to say in the 70s, 80s, then like I want to say the mid 90s is when New York started getting back. New York started getting back to where it needed to be, but it just became very expensive.
And this is where probably that spoiled Bloomberg have the idea to reinitiate that third term.
Yeah.
Because of Koch.
Yeah.
But that was done legally, not in your situation where you pay off people in the back end, have them to sign and create a vote, and then you reverse it. I mean, what type of you just talking about this, you realize
that was nonsense.
I mean, it was, and you just, it leaves the people, I would say, in a limbo, because people are hurting. They don't know who to really trust anymore.
You can't trust anybody. All you can do is just look out for your own,
do
the right thing.
You in politics,
protect your
family. Folks, I'm begging you, please, do not sit down and say, "Oh well, I'm not a part of politics." Politics is with you every day.
Everybody's a part of politics.
You are part of politics. Don't run with that mango nonsense.
Because then you're going to be blind. All you are is, if you don't follow politics and say, "Oh, I'm not into politics," then you are a lamb being led to slaughter.
You are a part of politics every single day you wake up.
Exactly.
Sitting and doing nothing is the same thing as sitting there doing nothing.
Exactly.
Whether you vote, yes, you may vote and it may not go your way. You have activists out there. They are doing things. Sometimes it looks. You look at Martin Luther King as an example. Martin Luther King didn't start this rivalry, and it ended in a glamorous success overnight.
Yeah.
It shed blood. It takes blood, sweat, and tears to put us in a certain situation as we are today in today's society.
Yeah.
And because he was consistent and he still pushed forward. There are times I used to have that notion, like, if I'm not seeing who I'm not liking, I'm not going to vote. I cut this nonsense out. At the end of the day, I do it to my best of my knowledge. I go and I do research. I said, what this character is all about. He has this, he has this, he has this, he has that. Okay, so let me study. Okay, is he a good candidate? In my opinion, no, because he's such and such. I do the same thing. At some point in time, I'm going to narrow it down to one individual who I want.
You're doing analysis.
Right. Now, does it mean that all that tactics and that skillful analyzing, analytics and stuff like that doesn't mean that this guy can disappoint me or this woman can disappoint me? Yes.
Of course.
Does that mean that I should stop where I'm at and say my hand? No. Keep on fighting. And this is what I'm encouraging you. Keep on fighting. Do not, a few young people, older folks, I hear running with this stuff, and it's not right to sit down and say you're not a part of politics. Yeah. You're born in politics. You're breathing politics. You may not have a direct hand in it, but you are part of politics on a 7 days a week. 366 including leap year.
And for people thinking, oh, well, what can I do? Or what do you mean by fight back? I don't mean, rioting or setting things on fire. What I'm saying, what we mean by fight back, you have to stay informed, okay? You have to stay informed, okay? Knowledge is power, always has been, okay? Not educated, because education is basically indoctrination. So you want to stay informed. You want to be well read, okay? You want to make sure you have to analyze everything. You just can't run with something because you feel that's the truth, because feelings are not facts and facts are not feelings. They never have been, they never will be, okay? You have to accept things. 9 times out of 10, if it's a harsh truth that makes you feel uncomfortable, then most likely that's the truth, whether you like it or not, okay? You have to be objective, especially in the realm of politics. Where people say, I don't follow politics, then like I said, okay, you don't want to follow politics, then you are a lamb being led to slaughter. That means you are a follower. You are a critical thinker.
Not a leader.
Okay? You were just a cog. You were just a cog in the machine. Nothing more, nothing less.
There was a slogan, and it is so profound, you should say something, and I just cannot remember it, but I can kind of sum up everything, where the truth is going to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
For sure.
That's why it's the truth.
It's going to cut. It was a slogan on a billboard in Jersey. This is a few years I saw it. And the way they phrase it is like, a lie will do something, but a truth will disturb. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But in essence, you probably get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, people love hearing beautiful lies. They hate the ugly truth.
Yes. And at the end of the day, people, think for yourself. Research. As what Justin shared with us, that he looked right across the board. I listen to all type of newscasts because I want to be objective. I want also filter. I listen locally, 1010 Wins. Abroad, CNN, Fox, even though I know they're biased, but I listen to them. You know,
because you can get something.
CNBC, all of them. I listen to them.
Yeah. You take all tidbits and then you make a synopsis.
Exactly.
You make your own synopsis.
And
that's like if you and I were given the same ingredients to make banana bread. You know our banana bread isn't going to taste the same. We're given the same exact ingredients. We're given the same exact instructions. Our banana bread is not.
It's not going to taste the same.
It's not going to taste the same.
Because you have some, I would, if I'm safe to say, it's based on skills.
Yeah, it's based on skill. It's based on it's based on understanding. It's based on comprehension. It's also based on experience. It's also based on how much information you already know beforehand. So if you don't know anything, then that means that you have to read everything. And then from reading everything, I'm not saying believe everything. From reading everything, you don't have to believe everything. But what you have to do, that's when your critical thinking skill starts kicking in.
It should be kicking in.
If I watch something from CNN, so if I'm watching on one issue, obviously I've been watching a lot on the tariffs lately. Even though they've been trying to distract us with other nonsense, I've been keeping my mind on the tariffs. So I'm watching everything on the tariffs. I'll watch whatever they talk about on the tariffs, CNN. I'll watch about whatever they're talking about the tariffs on Fox. I'll watch about what they're talking about on MSNBC. Then I'll watch Joe Rogan, what's his opinion on the tariffs. Candace Owens, what's his opinion on the tariffs. Then I'll go across seas and watch Shahid Bolson, okay, who's of the Islam faith. He's an American that converted to Islam or whatever, and then I have his take on things. And then from all those opinions, I have to formulate mine. So I'll take a tidbit from here, I'll take a tidbit from there. It's not necessarily things that I agree with, it's things that make sense.
Logically,
it's like putting a piece. It's like putting a puzzle piece together. Okay, yeah, I may feel like this corner piece goes in the middle because I feel the corner piece goes in the middle, but the corner piece does not go in the middle. It goes in the corner. Whether I feel it belongs in the middle or not. Feelings are not facts. Facts are not feelings.
Right on the board. Well, fellas, our people, we come to that time again.
I know we really fight through these conversations.
Yeah, you know, it's like
we
could go on forever and not realizing, hey, it's a beautiful thing.
I just can't wait till the people catch on and be like, wow, these guys really are smart. Yeah, we are.
For sure. And Mr. Trump, one of these days you'll come by, man. Come by.
It's President Trump.
I'm
Mr.
President Trump.
President Trump, we would love to have you.
Come by one of these days.
We would love to have you. It's just his comebacks alone. I don't even want him to talk politics. I just want him to just come with some snappy comebacks and make me laugh.
I want to hear what's in your head.
I want to hear. I want to know about I want to know where's your favorite pizza spot in Queens. That's what I want to know.
Nah, I want to know what's in your head. What type of foolishness or what type of good things going through your head?
Bring Barron too. Bring Barron because Barron, his grandson Barron. Barron's a very smart young man.
Oh, Barron.
Barron's a very smart young man.
I thought
I would love to hear what Barron has to say.
I had to recatch myself. I thought it was Beavis and Butthead. You just
no. I'm talking about. Oh, you talking about the older ones? Yeah. I don't have anything against them neither. But Barron is remember Barron is what? Barron's 16, 17.
He's probably 17 now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But I would love, he's a pretty smart individual. Like I said, I think he was the one that ran like his whole. He was in charge of like his whole social media presence. Mm-hmm. And you saw how well Trump did on social media during that campaign. He was all over the place. He's still all over the place. But yes, President Trump, we would love for you to come to the garage. I don't know if we can get all the Secret Service to fit in here. They're going to have to wait outside. But
that ain't
it's pretty
gonna
safe.
happen. We probably gonna sit outside.
We'll probably have to be outside. Because I'm not having all these guys like, bro, it's hot. I got to open the garage door. Then we're going to hear, summertime. You know what I'm saying? We're going to hear the bikes. We're not going to be able to do anything.
We probably have to interview him on site. He sits here. We
Exactly.
with a mic. So, Mr. Trump.
Exactly.
The Secret Service is like,
Exactly.
yo, I'm about to pull off, son. Step back.
Exactly. What are we doing? We're doing final thoughts?
Yeah, so final thoughts, based on what we discussed. I mean, we were touching a little bit from political rims, from social rims, and so forth, and, the turfs as well, and politics overall. The show is about politics and financial. One of the things we're trying to implement too is we are wrestling between health and fitness, which technically fitness is still fall under health. I would say, and you could quote me if I'm wrong. You correct me if I'm wrong. I would say, if you're doing health, right, which fitness falls under health.
Fitness falls under
See,
health.
you can do all the fitness you want, but if you're not living and eating properly,
then you're doing it for
all
nothing.
the fitness what you're doing is just in vain.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
So that's why I'm saying health would probably be a more appropriate. The individual know who I'm talking about.
Look, and for the things that we talk about on here, don't just believe what we say. We say certain things because we want you to research them. So whatever we talk about on here, don't take our word for it. Even if you agree with us, whether you find I feel Mr. Porter, you side with his views because your views align with his, or maybe if your views align with mine, or if you find us entertaining. That's all fine and dandy. But the reason why we're here to inform you. So we want to make sure, this is, obviously like this is why like I tell Mike all the time, this is why I like being on here, because we are men of color, we are regular everyday guys, okay? And this needs to be something as far as the state of politics, things that go on on a world view, on a national view. You want to research this information. So whoever's saying random things, research that. Oh, let me Google this, let me Google that, or go on DuckDuckGo or Reddit or something like that, because you want to formulate your own opinion. Like I said, the key is to inform yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say educate, because educate is just another word for indoctrinate. So what I'm saying is that you want to inform yourself. You want to keep yourself informed. Knowledge is power. That's how you arm yourself. You know how when you have a gun, you have to arm yourself with bullets? Well, knowledge is the bullets for your brain. You have to arm yourself, okay? You have to know your rights. You have to know what is it? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You want to know your human rights. You want to know your constitutional rights. You don't want people conning you, okay? Even if they look like you, or you feel that they come from the same background as you. Everybody that looks like you, or maybe came from the same place that you came from, is not necessarily for you. Okay, and vice versa. Just because somebody's from another culture, another background, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're your enemy, or that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be at odds with them. Okay, you have to inform yourself. You have to read. Knowledge is power, and you have to do proper research. Due diligence is your friend.
One of my things where I always hear my pastor said, and it doesn't mean that you don't trust the person, but he always have the slogan, trust but verify.
Exactly.
And it's something that I always run with it, and it doesn't mean that I don't trust the individual who is sharing the story. But there's sometimes things can get caught up when the transfer of information, and it get discombobulated. It gets get tangled up, not discombobulated, get tangled up in transferring information. So for me to get clarity and get this exact specifics, I go and I verify. Okay, what Mike was saying. Yeah, it was spot on. Oh, it's bull crap. Yeah. So at the end of the day, and feel free to call me out. If you see something, we share something here, and it's not factual, feel free, because from one of the things I do here on this show, I do fact checks. And if it's something like, if we go over a few things we have done on the show already, where there are certain things I personally say, and there were certain things that was also said on the show. And I went and clarified, because it didn't really sit too well with me. And I found the correct information, and I put it within the body of that podcast and clarified based on what was said and the clarification we can find within the body of the video. So again, if you have something and you want to do a fact check us, feel free. But without further ado, we thank you for joining us. Today was a good discussion.
Yes.
Hopefully our next show would have my other half.
And the Prime Minister
And the
Khalees.
Prime Minister of
We
Khalees.
miss Prime Minister Khalees.
Yes. We miss both of them.
Yes, Mr. White.
Mr. White and his King, what was the baby King Trump?
Hey, baby King Trump. AKA the intelligent investor.
AKA.
The intelligent investor. Actually, Mr. White, he taught me some things on Robinhood that I didn't know. So that's things that
He's very. I think that's one of the things where we clash in the context of we men together. Like we are like we on the same page mentally, based on characteristic wise and stuff like that. And even I don't really follow those superstition things because our birthday is almost a day apart.
Yeah.
So, but I don't really follow those superstitious things or whatever the case may be. It's just. Mike his mindset is, I wish we have a lot of people out there like this, and calm and collective guy, man. No fussy.
And he's very well read.
Very well read. He knows his things and stuff like that.
Stupid words do not come out that man's mouth.
I just hope that he abandoned Trump soon.
He's not. That's not going to happen. You need to abandon CNN and get your MAGA hat already.
Yes, people. So I thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. And, spread the word. I mean, we are a new podcast. I mean, this particularly, I would not say channel, but this particular show, it's kind of fairly new. So we're trying to get it out there. Every Saturday we have our live broadcast. We talk about different topics. I think this topic is supposed to be hot, according to Mike.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fire. So you want to join us live. We broadcast live on Saturdays, every Saturday, as God give us the ability to do so.
That's our mainstream show. This is more so for people that are more into, politics, finance, social commentary.
Correct.
The boring stuff. People that say that, the boring but important stuff. Let's put it that. Yeah, it's boring, but it's very important to know.
It's very important. It's very important. So again, people, thank you again one more time for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us and listen to us. And please like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell another friend. Tell your mother, your sister, your brother, your auntie. Even one day, if you want to even come and make a visitation on our show, feel free. The number is there. The email is there where you can reach out to us and make a request. And we'll set up a date to invite you to come out, and we'll share our thoughts and get it out there.
Yeah.
Again, thank you. And Mr. Justin would say to you, peace out.
All right.